I have a friend of mine. We work the same shift at the plant. He had to do some repairs on silo number 1, about 20 feet up. I told him, "Hey, where's your fall protection, man?" He said, it's an easy job. It wouldn't take but 5 minutes.
It's only a 5-minute job. It's gonna take me 15 minutes putting the stuff on. I'll be all right.
Why should he go through all the extra effort and time it would take to get his harness and hookup? It just didn't seem worth the trouble.
Falls are the third highest cause of workplace fatalities, behind homicides and motor vehicle deaths. In a fall, 1 in 5 victims dies. Unfortunately, when this scaffold broke, the unprotected worker fell to his death. But this worker was eventually rescued because he hooked up. In fact, his fall was only 5 feet because he wore a shock-absorbing lanyard attached to a full-body harness. Hooking up to fall protection saves lives. In this program, you will learn about the Occupational Safety and Health Administration's Fall Protection Standard and good safety practices for general industry, including types of personal fall protection systems, which systems you should use, equipment anchorage, tie-off, and use, rescue of fallen workers, and equipment care and inspection. There are 2 kinds of personal fall protection systems: personal fall arrest systems and positioning devices. Personal fall arrest systems stop a fall once it has begun. The equipment used consists of full body harnesses, lanyards, lifelines, anchorage connectors, and descent control devices. Positioning device systems prevent falls by supporting you in a working position with equipment such as a body belt, harness, connectors, snap hooks, and proper anchorage. To understand how fall protection equipment works, let's look at what happens in a fall. The time before the device catches the falling worker is called free fall. During free fall, the body is accelerating, so the longer the fall, the faster the body is traveling. When the fall protection system takes over, the body decelerates smoothly. All of the energy built up in the fall is transmitted through the body and the fall protection system during deceleration. The distance that it takes to stop is called the deceleration distance. To prevent injuries, fall arrest equipment often has a deceleration device to absorb some or most of the shock on the body by slowing the fall smoothly. A deceleration device should limit your deceleration to no more than 3.5 feet. Fall protection equipment must be strong enough to absorb shock and stop falls quickly without putting excess force on your body. Your employer will perform a hazard assessment and determine the best type of fall protection for you to use on the job. Be sure to wear the equipment you were provided and do not substitute other fall protection. You will also be trained in the proper use of the fall protection equipment. In your training, you will learn how the equipment is worn and maintained and what job it is intended to perform. You will also learn when shock-absorbing lanyards are used and how to hook up to a lifeline. Only use equipment for the job it was designed to do. Do not use fall arrest systems as positioning devices. Likewise, don't use window anchors for anything except window cleaners' belts. A strong military is vital when the need arises to defend your country. In the war against fall fatalities, anchorage is the first line of defense. It must be strong enough to take several times the force of the falling worker, complete with a tool belt. The best anchorages are I-beams, specially rigged lifelines, and other solid fixtures. Don't trust your life to conduit, cable hangers, light fixtures, or anything else that was not designed to take a sudden heavy load. Don't use bolts, studs, or other projections that allow the hook to slip off. The location of your anchorage is as important as its strength. Select an anchorage that lets you move freely but doesn't increase your free fall distance. The best location for an anchorage is above where you are working to reduce your free fall distance. Any anchorage points below the D-ring on your harness will add that distance to your fall, while points above will subtract distance. To find a safe anchorage height, add the length of the lanyard when it is fully extended and the distance from the D-ring to your feet. Make sure the anchorage is more than that distance from any point below it. Otherwise, you could hit the ground or other objects below you before your fall protection system stops you. Next, make sure the anchorage is located as close to directly above you as possible, so you will not swing if you fall. Any side-to-side movement in a fall can swing you into other structures and cause severe injury. Change your anchorage point when you move to keep it above you. It's an obvious fact. The farther one falls, the faster that body goes, and the more shock there is when that body stops. Even when wearing a harness, this holds true. So it's important to limit free fall distance in order to reduce the chance of being injured by the fall arrest force. Never rig a system that would allow you to free fall more than 6 feet. Lifelines can be horizontal or vertical. Horizontal lifelines must be designed, installed, and used under the supervision of a qualified person. The more workers tied off to a single line, the stronger the line and its anchors must be. Vertical lifelines should never have more than one person per line. Make sure your line reaches to the ground or the next working level below, or terminate it in a way that will keep your lanyard from moving past its end. Tying off or securing yourself to the anchorage requires a firm connection that will not weaken the anchorage, the lanyard, or the connector. In a 100% fall protection system, you are continuously tied off. That means you tie off before you get into a position where you are likely to fall, and don't release the connection until you are safe from a fall. Don't tie a knot in your lanyard, since a knot weakens your lanyard. Instead of a knot, either get a shorter lanyard or reduce your free fall distance to minimize the impact on the system. Tying off around rough or sharp surfaces such as I or H beams also threatens lanyard security. Any sharp surfaces can weaken or cut the lanyard under the impact of a fall arrest, possibly causing it to fail when it is needed. Tie-off devices are also available for beams, rails, and other potential anchorages. To protect the lanyard, use padding on sharp or rough surfaces, or use an abrasion-resistant strap. Locking snap hooks are required on all personal fall protection to prevent opening from accidental causes such as rollout. Rollout takes place when a lanyard or any object presses against the keeper during a fall, allowing the lanyard to slip out of the hook. Locking prevents rollout by requiring intentional release before the hook will open. D-rings should be large compared to hooks, so the ring will reach beyond the hook's keeper rather than pressing against it. After attaching the snap hook, make sure it is secure and locked, and that accidental rollout is impossible. Harnesses must fit snugly. If your harness is too loose, it could slip from you in a fall. Before you put on your harness, inspect it for frayed webbing, broken fibers or cuts, distorted D-rings, cracks, rough or sharp edges on metal parts, unusual wear where the buckle attaches, tongue or grommet condition, and a safely working buckle. Next, hold the harness by the back D-ring and shake the straps into place. Release straps and slip them over your shoulders so the D-ring is located in the middle of the back between your shoulder blades. Pull the leg strap between your legs and connect it to the opposite end. The waist strap should be tight but not binding. Connect the chest strap and position it in the middle of your chest. Check for snug fit that allows full movement. To keep from doubling over sideways or backwards in a fall, connect your harness either in the center of the back at the shoulder level or above your head. Ladder safety devices are designed so you can have both hands free for climbing. The connection between the device carrier's lifeline and your belt cannot be more than 9 inches long. This limits free fall, but it's enough to let you climb in a normal position. Do not climb while holding objects. use either belt hooks or a rope hoist to pull up tools and materials. Once you have fallen and your fall protection system has saved you, you must be rescued safely and quickly. Your employer should have a rescue plan in place which includes rescue by coworkers, a way of summoning a rescue squad, or some combination of these methods. All effective rescue systems involve advanced planning. Make sure you know what your company's rescue plan calls for. You should be familiar with rescue equipment at your facility such as ladders, hoists, man lifts, or ropes, and have some practice using it. You should also know how to contact outside help quickly in an emergency. Rescue personnel should know what steps to take depending on the circumstances and the rescue plan. Prepare any medical equipment that will be needed to transport the victim. Once you reach the victim, try to lower him as safely as possible. Remain calm. This helps you think clearly, and it helps keep the victim calm as well. Move the victim carefully to avoid making head, neck, or back injuries worse. Defective equipment can kill you. The few minutes it takes to inspect your equipment before each shift can save your life. Worn defective equipment should be taken out of service and handled according to facility policy to prevent future use. Equipment used in a fall or that has otherwise suffered shock must be inspected by a competent person before it can be used again. Follow your facility procedures for safely maintaining and storing your personal fall protection equipment. In general, equipment should be stored away from excessive heat, sunlight, chemical reaction, and welding splatter. Don't leave your equipment where people or vehicles can run over it. Metal elements need protection from corrosion and crushing. Never allow your personal fall protection equipment to be used for hoisting materials or tools. Personal fall protection systems can save your life. From lifeline to lanyard to harness, your employer will provide the equipment and instruct you in its use and care. Do your part by using and maintaining it properly. You have a choice. You can stop your fall at the end of a lanyard or on the ground. Be smart. Stay on top.